All right, so in this episode, we won't be talking about one specific topic, but what we are going to be talking about is the strategy for Men Forward. Why are we here? What are we trying to do next? And how are we thinking about growing it?
What we're sharing essentially is our journey, right? And what we're experiencing. And we all have different lives, different careers, like the core of what we're doing here is trying to, extend that out and really build that up because it's one of the most important things in life is having, solid men that you can rely on and who can be there.
We have to get it slightly commercial and think about it as a strategy and really, grow it. Because one thing that I've learned from Mind Valley is that yes, the whole idea is to change, human consciousness, but without money, you can't.
True.
Let's be honest.
Facts. And the most important part, at least, the synergy and how much we compensate each other. Because while you guys were saying, I'm like, that thought scares me. I'm like, that's the only thing that motivates me. Being with these people, creating that transformational space, lifting people, make them smile, make them happy, and so on. Like, that's what I'm doing this. I'm waiting for that moment.
All right, so in this episode, we won't be talking about one specific topic, but what we are going to be talking about is the strategy for Men Forward. Why are we here? What are we trying to do next? And how are we thinking about growing it? And we always get together every week, every Saturday. These days we are doing weekdays because I have been traveling and Neil is also traveling next week. So we have just this time and we want to make sure that we use this time to also sharpen the saw. Right, like we have been doing a lot, and we have not really been looking at what is working out, what are the next steps for us. Where should we take this channel to? How do we build a community? Because one of the biggest visions that we have is to build a community of men who want to come together and build their businesses, build themselves, look at how they can improve their lives, their mental state, their emotional state, their physical state, find relationships, and all of that. And we do want to build that community. But at the moment, the first step that we had to take was to get used to of building content. And Neil has been doing an incredible job. He's doing it regularly. I've been building content. Ali has been building content with us on this podcast. And we just want to see like how we grow it, how can we 100x this channel, building content and bringing that impact that we truly believe that will change people's life. So yeah, this episode is all going to be about just looking at where we have been and what are the next action steps that we should be taking. So cool, all good. How are you?
I just want to share this quickly. There's this clip, I don't know if you guys saw it, of David Goggins. There's like a snippet, and I think he was on a podcast. And he's like, yeah, I want to get a bunch of men together, the hardest of the hard. But he was saying like this part, I was like, okay, that came to mind. But yeah, we're not doing that. We're just we're just trying to help the bros out there.
We need the soft men. You need the softer men.
No, all men are welcome, but not for that.
Bro, what day is it today?
Ali, it's almost 10 p.m. our time.
Yeah, but
Bro,
We have had a
it's
long
past my
day.
bedtime.
yeah, bro. Maybe let's find another time that is more suitable. But let's speak about men forward. Where are we? Where are we moving forward, and so on. I think I'm gonna speak on top of my heart, not on top of my mind. I think the good thing about it is that we definitely get to connect. We are disciplined. We do the things that we love doing. The challenging part is most of the time is what do you define as success? Because again, what is success metric of the project? Listen, it's a very valuable time. I know every single time Neil might be sitting here and smiling, but when he's not sitting here, he's just getting through the longest to-do list on this earth. When we're not sitting here, Rafa, you sitting in the office until very late evenings and working on Mind Valley and Mind Valley stuff. And I'm also having my family and all of the other shit that I'm having in here. And I think sometimes it's like you begin to question why am I investing the time I'm investing into this one? Is it the right thing? I think the vision is very, very clear that we would love to build a community for men. We would love to ideally get to the point where we actually can run like transformational journeys with men. It can be in retreats and so on. Ideally, we would love to stay in the same space where our personal life and our professional life is almost into one, and we really get to spend time with each other and grow together and just enjoy life and all of its aspects together. That's at least where we're moving on a personal side, and would love to have the professional side, the personal side, like intertwined into here. I think mainly the challenging part, and again, most of the time when you put a lot of effort into something and you might not see the traction that you were hoping for, how to keep pushing, because we are pushing. And sometimes you ask yourself, and that's a very foundational question, why am I doing this? Where should this get me? It's the door next here, so I cannot do much about it. Sorry. Asking the question, why I'm moving in here, how can I improve it, and so on. Ideally, again, I think it's we've been speaking about how can we show the impact and the transformation that we can bring forward. If it's either on a mini community or whatever it is, maybe the formula haven't nailed 100%. It's somehow we have the emotion ideas of it, but maybe it hasn't really been translated 100% to it. That's it. Build from your side, guys, and I would love to hear your perspective because we don't get to really speak about this part and zoom out that often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one of the major things that we're locking in right now is the consistency, right, of doing these episodes and putting it out there. And it's not going 100% into the ether. We're still getting people, whoever is looking at this, thank you. Please share, comment, like, subscribe, give us feedback. Like the average person who would look at a podcast or something would look at it, get the value, right? Nobody really comments or engages and stuff, but even us, we may do it and not engage. But yeah, like whoever is out there, please let us know who you are. Give us some signal in the noise out there, and let us know. Tell us, like, you guys are putting shit content out, or it's not adding value, or help us with your experience in this, because what we're sharing essentially is our journey, right? And what we're experiencing, and we all have different experiences. Like Rafe is all the way out in Kuala Lumpur, Ali is in somewhere the North Pole or something, and I'm in Bali. But we all have different lives, different careers, and the thing that really unites us is the brotherhood. So I think the core of what we're doing here is trying to extend that out and really build that up, because it's one of the most important things in life is having solid men that you can rely on and who can be there with you, side by side in whatever you're going through, life in general. And yeah, I think that is the core of what we're trying to build here. It's not written in stone, let's say, as in we need to do X, Y, and Z. It's like we're executing, we're showing up every week, and as we go, and as I said, like, as signal comes back, we'll get more clarity, and I think the mission is very young still. It's only been a couple months. Um, and yeah, main thing is we're showing up. Like, each of us, we have very busy lives. Like, for me, it's past my bedtime already, but I still make the effort. I was like literally passed out on my bed before, with my partner. We just put my son to sleep, and I'm like done, because last night I worked till like 1 a.m. Woke up early again. Had a full day today. I didn't even get to go to the gym, which I don't recommend skipping, but I still show up because this is important to me, and it energizes me when I jump on this call with you guys, and even if it's just us getting to catch up quickly, I think that is something there. But yeah, this is exactly what we want to put out there. And I think as we grow older as men, we don't really have that community so much. We may be filled up in our careers and life and family and duties that we may have, and it's important to still have this level of brotherhood and yeah, just solid people around that you can rely on, even if it's just an ear to listen when you have something to say. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, like from my side is the same. I always get a dopamine hit whenever I'm in this call. I feel energized, no matter how the weeks have been, and this week has been tough. I'll be honest. Work is tougher, and at times you get some reality checks. And I had to skip gym today as well because I slept late last night. I got home late, and then we did a podcast, and I slept late because I really wanted to spend some time with my partner and speak with her. And I haven't been able to for the past few weeks, and I just wanted to take that time out and listen to Ali's advice yesterday because Ali was like, "Be present," and I was like, "Yeah, that's true. Like I have." It's been so long I have not been present with my partner. And yesterday we were just in bed talking for like an hour, and it was one of the most enriching experiences that I've had in a long fucking time. Woke up early, went to office, came here, and I was looking forward to this conversation. So for me, like, I think you're right, like having this brotherhood and just having to talk about what's happening in a life, and just listening to how you guys approach a few things that we talk about in our podcast. And I'll also tell you guys, like, there are some people who listen to us regularly. Like, I was shocked to hear a few people who came to me and told me that they have watched every single episode, and I was like, wow, I have not watched every single episode. It's just crazy, right? Like there are so many people, even in Mind Valley, like there are three people who are like continuously listening to every single episode. So even though our views might not be, hundreds of thousands, but there are some people who listen, and that's the love, and they get the value out, and it's been incredible. But coming back to business, like if we look at this podcast, what is the success metric, right? For me, I think growing followers. Like I'll be very blunt and honest. At the moment, we do have want to grow followers to a level where we have some traction and we are, getting feedback. Because to me, if we want to test something out, if we don't have an audience, it's very hard for us to test it out, right? So for me, the number one metric that I'm looking at now to grow is followers of this podcast, of the Instagram channel that we have. So I've spoken to this agency, which I'm possibly hiring. So I'm having a chat. I'm having a meeting with them on Friday. It's an agency based in Pakistan. It's a friend of mine. I'm a little scared to go in an arrangement, professional arrangement with a friend of mine. But he has been a friend of mine since 20 years. It's been a long time, and he's reliable. I know that he's extremely hardworking. So he has an agency, and he has very capable people who can take over the social media. Because I feel like Ali's question, why don't we have traction? Is it because of our YouTube, or we are not really doing any marketing? To me, we are not really doing any marketing, right? Like I think the podcast is great and the personalities are good. Whoever has listened to it has shared great feedback, and I have also spoken to people who are ruthless and they have also liked it. So I just think that we don't have enough eyeballs, and I think that we need to build a system which can really garner that eyeballs. And the only way to get there is to really have the reels cut up, to really build content and have a content media, social media strategy for Instagram, for YouTube, and really building that out. So they might be a little expensive, like they first quoted me $1,500, but that was inclusive of the editor. And I was like, okay, if I don't take the editor, what will you charge me for social media? And the thing is, if they come back to me and be like, okay, $800, which is, I think, is fine for me, I'm okay to pay them that money, because I think if we want to do it, we do it right. And if we do it right, and we have, like really people focused on growing this, because for me, the KPI for them would be to grow this fucking channel no matter what. You tell me what I have to do. I don't have to tell you. Like I don't have the brain space. I think neither three of us have the brain space to sit here and be like, okay, let's strategize and come up with angles that can go viral. We don't have that time. Like it's so hard.
Rafi, can I put a, have you ever had
Yeah.
friends where you are a master in dating and dating advice until you come to the point where you date yourself? Because I've been asking
Yeah.
myself this multiple times. I'm like, bro, we fucking build funnels. We make people grow. And then I'm like, and then I was asking myself, I'm like, how come we cannot even support ourselves? And that has been a very big topic for me. But sometimes it's like, this is maybe where you actually need an external to have a look at it, to do what we are doing for people that someone can do for us. And
Yeah.
it's and I think it's totally legit, because sometimes like, bro, am I fucking what have I been doing with my life the past 5 7 years when we've been working hardcore on marketing? The guy sitting here is fucking running a complete agency of growing people.
That's true, but it requires time, right? It requires time,
Exactly.
effort, energy, routine, consistency. Because I don't think we have limited ideas, but
No, no,
execution is
I
not
agree.
easy.
So where we lack is time and execution, because ultimately we don't have enough time. Like if this was all a full time thing, we spend 8 hours every day, then I mean it would be blown out of the water, right? But the reality is we don't have that because we have our plates full with everything else, but we want to make this a success at the same time. So if we need external help, then it's 100% the only way we can get it going, right? So in this case, okay. So what does it mean without the editor? Because we would still need an editor. So
I have an editor. So I have a full time editor already, right? Like I'm paying
the
him.
guy who does your reels,
Yeah. So what I was thinking, because see, like if I pay them 1.5, great, then I have to fire him, right? And Taha, if you're listening, I'm not firing you. That is not the point. I'm just telling you that we have been. He was speaking about getting handling everything, but for me, like Taha has already learned the way we like things, right? Like the style of reels, the style of captions, the way of thinking. So there has already been so much investment in that side. So I was like, please use the editor I have. He's incredible. He's a senior editor. Use him and then let him know what kind of reels you want. You cut it up yourself, and then he can cut it for you. And then we build a team around it, because I think Marisha is doing a great job where she has a team. One is a social media manager, one is an editor, and then their constant job is to crack her fucking Instagram growth. Period. That's their job. So what I'm looking for from that agency is literally that. Like, how do you grow uh, our social media? And I have asked them to do a weekly meeting where they report numbers and then they tell me what are they going to be doing in the next week. Because I
yeah.
think as long as we have that going, and we are at peace, we are like, okay, we have some reels that are going viral here and there, and it's all about quantity and quality. And quantity, we are not really doing anything, because if you look at YouTube, a few of our reels have 500, 600 views, which is small, but we have 20 subscribers, right? And there are some reels of mine on Instagram which have gone viral, have over 100,000, a million views. On TikTok, a few 100,000. So how can we replicate all of that? I don't have the brain space to sit down and think and analyze. So we do need help. So I think the number one thing that we should take away from this is that, okay, if we are getting an agency, somebody who's serious and senior, and if they keep doing their job, great. The next step for us, if we have some traction, let's say if we have 1,000 subscribers, if we have, let's say, 5,000 followers on Instagram, I think that we can build a funnel or build a community very easily. But we have to get there first, and to get there, we have to crack the code.
But then we need to think about this as well, right? Like, what is the actual um, requirements for that community and stuff? Because then that is something we cannot outsource. So
No,
we
bro,
need to
that
get
scares me.
realistic with our time requirements and what we're actually going to be delivering in there, right? So this is the other side of it, because we're building, but what is the end result here? And it may not be an end result per se, but it's something to think about, because either way, it requires or time or energy or effort.
Yeah. Before we go to Ali, I'll tell you that scares me. Just the thought of running a community and investing time.
I do this at least high level strategy, and I have to coordinate this with my client, so I know like how much goes into it. Like right now I'm working with a client who are launching a new community, and then they just deciding on the platform. They switched twice already to different platforms before launching it. Because they found that, oh, this platform does something better, this does better, but then you need to map out like, okay, what am I going to be delivering, how often stuff happens, who's going to moderate, like so it's not a small thing. So maybe it may not be a big promise, let's say, for this community thing, but me, I'm what energizes me, if we have to talk about a product or service or something that we deliver, is actually getting together in person and maybe doing retreat or something. Like, I think that is something I would be energized for, because I don't have to be on a screen. I don't have to constantly be updating and moderating, and like, that sounds less energizing to me, let's say, compared to meeting up in person, because I think that's where the energy is. And this can go even deeper. Today I was thinking about, like, how we're at with the advancements in AI and everything. I've been listening to, like, all these founders of, like, Claude and Sam Altman from ChatGPT, and they're talking about where it's going, like, with AI and everything, and in 1 year things are going to look completely different, in 2 years and 3 years. So I see where the future is that AI is going to be doing so much intellectual and let's say, screen work that we do today, that in the future the demand is going to be where there's community, where there's experiences, back to the real world, art, even, like, all of these kind of things. I think is going to make a renaissance. And I think we should look in that direction, not try to go where everyone else is going in the screen space, let's say.
Bro,
Ali.
I couldn't agree more on that one, because I was reflecting on it the other day. In a world where everyone is moving towards automation, this is where we move towards humanization. And I think that one is extremely important for me. The part where, because what I'm seeing around me, and this is maybe one of the things that really motivated starting this one, we all living in our small bubbles and small boxes, and almost in a box of loneliness. And I'm just gonna say, they're not. It's a your little small bubble, and that bubble, once it's connected with multiple bubbles, it creates something that's very beautiful. And at the end of it, honestly, that is really what I want to create. I don't know what shape and form. And do you know, sometimes when we're asking ourselves, the how is not something that I would need to figure, as long as I know the why. The why is the one that's fueling the motivation, the discipline, and keeping us going. And I always have, and then the layer on top of that one is, of course, the intention. Because again, I understand that we always are marketers, that we will always look into how can we commercialize something. But as I always said, this is more of a passion. And instead of saying, how can I commercialize this? I'm always saying, how can I spread love, kindness to other people, so they can lift themselves and hopefully take that chain and make a chain reaction so they can lift someone else. Because that is, for me, the meaning of it. That I can support one or two people and then make something great. And I think that's why I'm redefining how I see success. Because ideally, if you think about it from a commercial perspective, then what you have been doing hasn't been the most successful. But on the other side, if someone took one message and made something good out of it, actually it's been very successful. The only thing is we haven't got a response. Not true. Our bro who has been responding us have actually been giving us very, very feedback, but maybe we haven't got enough real life response that confirms that what we are doing is good and bringing them value. Because if that has been the case, I might not have said, you know what, we just keep continue doing this because someone is benefiting. And I think that's the end idea of it. Whatever I'm doing, I just wanted to make sure that it's benefiting someone out there. In what shape and form,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it. But that is the bottom line for me.
Yeah, and also, like, there is a balance to it, right, Ali? Like, from that point of view, we would always be doing it and not really optimizing it, right? Because I do agree that, if even one person is getting value, great. But like, we also have more things in our mind, right? Like, we do want to do our retreats, we do want to do our, like, spread the impact, spread the love, as you said, and for that to happen, we have to get it slightly, commercial, and think about it as a strategy, and really, like, grow it. Because one thing that I've learned from Mind Valley is that, yes, the whole idea is to change, like, human consciousness, but without money you can't.
True.
Let's be honest.
Facts.
And I remember also when working with Manuel, because I think one of the biggest learnings in the 2 years we're working together, so we build courses, we build journeys. We had people building their own business and so on. I think one of the biggest learnings was cash is king. As simple as that, and however you turn it, and so on. I'm like, so that's why, of course, I know it's a conflicting idea because one side I just want to make this to benefit people, but on the other side, if you need to scale and you are sincere doing something good, you need some cash to be able to scale it, because you believe in the impact, and I think that is the investment that it requires. And we spoke about mentors, so I think hiring an agency is for me one category of a mentorship, someone who actually can get the best out of you and take you to a certain level that you might not have achieved yourself. Which is why I'm like, yeah, of course, it makes sense for us to do it in a more professional way, because for people out there, we have 1 hour together, maybe sometimes because of conflict in times and so on, we a bit late, and a lot of times we actually get the topic on the spot and then we go on, and it is what it is, which is reality. But I read a statistic the other day. I think it was like almost 80% of people, or 79, 80% of people will actually stop after the fourth podcast. And sometimes we really need to acknowledge the success of actually just keep going, because that in itself is a core foundation. Because even without seeing real results, we keep pushing. And I think that one is a element of success, because I've seen it in other businesses or projects I've been working on. People who keep pushing even without seeing the instant response, those are the ones that actually can get the furthest. So I'm very hopeful. And the most important part, at least, the synergy and how much we compensate each other. Because while you guys were saying, I'm like, that thought scares me. I'm like, that's the only thing that motivates me. Being with these people, creating that transformational space, lifting people, make them smile, make them happy, and so on. Like, that's what I'm doing this. I'm waiting for that moment. But until that moment, and God bless us with that moment, then we are here on a screen, hoping to connect with people and at least keep it pushing, keep going forward, as we would say.
Yeah, and so yeah, I'll go ahead with the agency. I'll also invite you guys for the weekly catch ups. If you can make it, great. If you can't, I'll record it for you guys as well, so that you can, you also stay in touch with what's happening. Um, and the whole idea of really putting brains behind growing it is also because, if there is that commercial value, then we can free up our time. Like, at the moment, our time is just packed because we are so commercially involved for other people's dreams, and we are building that dream. So for us to build our own dream, we have responsibilities, so we can't really just shut everything down, and that is already going so well. So that is one decision. So I will also share with you guys what they share with me. So I'm probably meeting them on Saturday. I'm not too sure, Neil or Ali, if you will be able to join it. I will send you an invite nonetheless. If you can make it, great. If you won't, I'll update you.
I'll be traveling, so I won't be able to. But one of the things you need to do to set before we start is like OKRs, or at least they need to have a clear metric that they need to hit. And this is a single reason why we're hiring them. Like, they need to understand they're not just there to manage a social media, but they're there to hit numbers. Like, that is the only reason.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise we would have hired, who was that guy? Leonard, the king.
Shout out, Leonard, if you're watching this.
We love you. We
Yeah,
love you,
bro, we
bro.
love you.
Thank you
We
so much
hope
for all
that your
your help.
family is out of the hospital and everyone is doing very well, because sickness is not good in our life. Guys, totally off topic, but Rafe, definitely speak with them, because I think that's one thing that I'm really craving and I'm really want, I need to understand the dynamic and the different personalities that we are. And I think, how do I translate that personality into the social space in the best possible way? It's like, because for example, now we're hiring an interior designer, and they will ask you like, what defines you, what is the story you want to tell, and all of these things. And I think that's very, very important on that. So yeah, definitely something that we can look into, if that's possible.
Yeah, bro. And the thing is, like, it's about time for us to build a company around it. And I'll also give you guys a news. Like, Eve has also left her job. So she will also be full time doing Everfood, because I think it's now or never, man. Like, you live
Fuck
so
yeah.
fucking short.
Fuck yeah.
Like, fuck that. Like, I feel like if we want to do something, we just go all in. And I this is my philosophy. I think we have done half-ass shit for so long. Now I just want to go full deep in and knee deep in and
Oh,
make
ass.
sure. Yeah, that's it. Whole ass.
No, that's great, bro. Like, yeah, I think if we get this going with them, like, there'll be more traction coming for sure because then we have dedicated resources behind getting the results that we want, right? And then they can push us as well, be more demanding on us. Yes, we are packed in stuff with our schedules, but for this, I think we will all find the time. Like Ali is literally at work right now and found a spot to have this podcast. So, that's
Next
commitment.
to a door that keeps screaming, which is the bathroom, by the way. But seriously, but
Yeah.
this is the beautiful part of it. And you know what? But one thing I really wanted to add in here, and I think not just for us, for someone out there, because it's how I felt, and I would love that anyone who's feeling the same thing. Sometimes when you keep pushing and you feel you have a huge ass potential, but that potential have simply not made a breakthrough, that is a very, very, very frustrating state to be in. And it sometimes it kills me, and I keep saying it again and again when I speak. I'm like, and it's coming to the level I'm also getting into the self blame, and so I'm like, is it really me who's just not doing good enough? I push, I'm here, I'm doing there, I'm keep pushing, I'm trying to do whatever it can take. It might be that, of course, I can add another layer. Anyone, again, stretch your arm, of course, you can stretch your arm more. There's always potential for it. But then I learned one thing that was very, very good and really maybe calmed down that idea. I'm like, listen, maybe you are where you're supposed to be. Because sometimes, to give you a context, guy, because Rafa, you were sharing the guy who was presenting at a stage with a very high price tag. And you were like, dude, this guy is just our age. It's not because someone is really smarter than us. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually fucking true. And sometimes it's not enviousness, but when you think that you deepest inside, you feel I have all of the puzzle that will allow me to do something great, but I haven't made the breakthrough, and you're sitting with that frustration in between. And I just want to say to anyone listening out there, just trust the process. And again, I remember the movie Abnatam Aiga, which said our time will come. And I believe it. And sometimes you need to get through this hustle without no traction to build the discipline and just to be immune. If you get recognition, you don't get recognition, it's okay. I'm anyways doing it for the cause, so it's okay. But keep pushing forward. So I think that one is definitely something that has been changing in mindset because I was not bit, but actually very frustrated for a period of time, and I was self-blaming myself of why am I not doing good enough? But then when I realized, I'm like, actually, I'm freaking grateful for everything I have inside me. So look at the good part, and all of the other stuff is there. Keep being ambitious, but also grateful at the same point of time. So if anyone out there is feeling the same emotion, because I don't know if it's just me, but if anyone is feeling the same one, please do not be too hard of yourself. Keep going, and may you be blessed in whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Or keep going to that 9 to 5 job. You know, like people stay in that zone as well, and that's completely fine. They're frustrated, but they're like, yeah, I'm living my life, I'm okay with it. Completely fine. If you want to hustle more, like we are hustling here, take that leap. So with that, I think we are good with that decision. I'll go ahead, have that chat. I'll start, and I'm hoping that they can deliver because I'm putting a lot of faith in them. Simultaneously, I also spoke with this girl who does social media, but she does it single-handedly, and I'm like, I'm not too sure. I want a team. I want a team. After a few experiences, love to Leonard. We just want to make sure that we look at a fucking agency who can deliver and who is already doing it professionally for a few years, which is great. And it's not that expensive. It's based in Pakistan, and we will hold them accountable for OKRs, nothing else. So let's keep that going. And other than that, I don't think we have to worry about anything. We consistently keep making content. They help us with looking at some great parts which can go viral, and now ChatGPT can do that really well, so they don't even have to think so much, and keep posting content as much as they can.
Let's go.
Let's
Bismillah.
go.
God, we trust in your
Bismillah.
plan. We might be a bit,
Yes,
we might sometimes not understand the full context and be a bit impatient, but yeah, things are definitely going in the right direction. And maybe this moment is the perfect moment as it is without any change.
absolutely. Neela, when are you traveling? Tomorrow?
Uh, Saturday,
Saturday, okay.
but I'll be out for a week. Like I'm gonna be in the US, so yeah.
All right. With that, we'll stop the recording. Thank you so much for listening.